The best way of describing modern economies is to identify a major figure routinely ignored by many economists and even by the culture as a whole, and that's the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is not the techie who invents some new device, nor is he simply a person who manages a company. An entrepreneur would best be described as somebody who sees the commercial possibilities that other people miss. And perhaps the best way of describing what entrepreneurs do is to use the words of the famous economist Joseph Schumpeter and say that the entrepreneur is somebody who engages in creative destruction, who introduces a new way of doing things, a new way of engaging the world, which necessarily leads to changes in everything else. So we welcome the creativity. We shudder sometimes at the destruction of old relationships. That kind of unleashing of individual creativity is precisely what the Judeo-Christian inheritance allows people to do. In cultures that don't celebrate entrepreneurship or don't understand it, you don't get that creativity. I could give a few examples to explain how America is clearly the home of entrepreneurship and creativity. Most of the Nobel Prizes, for example, now go to Americans or people in is very closely associated with the U.S. What makes that possible? To some extent, what makes that possible is a free market economy, which puts a great premium on creativity, coming up with new products and services. So that is absolutely crucial. I have a good foreign friend who enjoys making fun of American culture, and once pointed out to me that if you go into a drugstore, you will find 40 different kinds of toothpaste, probably 60 now. And what I pointed out was that the same people who can invent 40 different kinds of toothpaste can also invent 40 new products that other cultures are not inventing. It's very clear that all the creativity, or almost all the creativity, takes place in the U.S. And again, I would attribute that to a culture that's rooted in Judeo-Christian inheritance and that encourages the kind of individuality that makes that sort of thinking possible and encourages it. We live now in a knowledge economy. A knowledge economy is not a rigid, traditional production system where you can just order people what to do. The only way we can produce the kind of products and services we have now is by encouraging an awful lot of creative people to work together. You can't do that unless you recognize and respect their individuality. That means that businesses, in order to prosper, have to encourage a kind of virtuous behavior, a recognition and respect for what individuals do, for the fact that these people have private lives which are important, and that their creativity is not something that they merely sell to others, but something that expresses who they are. Companies that recognize this, that promote those virtues, are the ones that are more likely to be successful.